So today I want to dive into a big question that I'm actually hearing a lot more these days, and that question is cold calling dead? Well, there's a lot to uncover here, and it's kind of a complex answer, but I want to show you or talk through a few key points that I want you to consider when you're cold calling. Now, if your job is to develop new business and prospect into new territories, you will likely have to do some kind of cold calling as your job, right, in your day-to-day. But the first thing that I want you to start doing is totally retrain your brain in how you think about what a cold call is. For it to be the most effective, you've got to retrain your brain on how you approach it. You need to embrace it and not dread it. And you also need to retool your processes to allow for cold calling to be done in the right order and in the right way for it to be most effective. So one way to stop dreading a cold call is to just think of it a different way. Don't call it a cold call, and instead, let's maybe refer to it as a value-added first attempt. If you look at it as a way to develop a new relationship, meet new people, form new relationships, right? Build some trust, deliver value, then all of a sudden it becomes kind of a fun activity that you're excited about because you know that what you're bringing to the table is going to help them solve their problem. Now, before I go any further, if you're in sales and you want to get more information, I have what I call the Motivational Selling Monday newsletter. It's totally free, and I'm going to put a link in the description where you can go there, sign up, and every Monday morning while you're prepping for the week, you can read some content that's going to help motivate you and help educate you on how to get the best results. Now, let's get back to it. If you go into a cold call with the intent on trying to sell something as quickly as possible on that first call, you're going to fail. Because let's be honest, when is the last time you called somebody out of the blue who does not know you, and on that first call, you sold them something? It pretty much never happens anymore, unless maybe you're selling a really low ticket item to a customer that you know needs that item. So again, if we just go into it just wanting to deliver more value, that's going to be really critical in this. We also have to understand that cold calling is not your only way of prospecting. Now, while cold calling itself is a standalone, task that you're going to do, let's add it and make it part of a larger process. And what I mean by that is cold calling is just part of your cold prospecting efforts. So there's lots of things you can do in cold prospecting, and some of those things will be a cold call. But let's figure out when to do them and in what order. So first, with any cold prospecting efforts, I'm always going to recommend you send a cold email and then a cold connection request. Think of that as on LinkedIn or something, and you want to make sure that you're sending a personalized message. If you do that and you send them some kind of value in that reach out attempt, then when you cold call, there's going to be a little bit more recognition, right? They're going to be a little more familiar if they've looked at that, right? But here's the ticket with this. Here's the really cool thing about it. Let's say you don't have their email or they haven't seen the connection request just yet. That's okay. You're still going to reference that in your cold call of, hey, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, I sent you over an email or a connection request the other day and it had this piece of information in it. I just wanted to follow up and see if you've had a chance to take a look at that. And specifically, I wanted to go over one part in that. If they haven't gotten it or the email bounced, then you could say, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I sent it to this email. I guess that's not what I had. What's the right email? And I'll send it over right now for you. It's just a little bit more natural, and that's going to get you more responses and help put their guard down because you're being more human, right? You're being more relatable to that person, okay? And you're not just calling them out of the blue saying, hey, can I have a few minutes of your time to interrupt your day? Again, you're trying to deliver value. Now, let's say, for example, you've tried the cold email attempt and you've reached out on LinkedIn, and now in your process, right? And I'm really big on systems and automation and putting in whatever processes you can for your sales funnels and your sales cycles. Maybe you send a few different emails and you're tracking those. And if they haven't opened them, then you call and your script is a little bit different. Your approach is a little bit different. But if they have been opening those emails and you're tracking that, so or they're clicking on the material that you sent them and they're they're absorbing the information, you're educating them, then your approach is a little bit different. So again, your one cold call can be informed by what they have done or have not done, and that's going to change your approach. So having the right systems in place and having a cold call be part of your processes, that is going to go a long way because you're going to be armed with the right information, the right knowledge, and the right approach when you actually call on that person. Now, cold calling can be a little tough these days because you don't know how to get in touch with that person. You don't know if it's an office, you don't know their cell phone number, obviously, and a lot of people work remotely. So how do you use a cold call in the right way? Well, one, if you're prospecting into a company that has, a larger department, let's say you're trying to sell some kind of marketing service and it's a larger company with a marketing department. They're going to have a CMO, they might have a VP, they're going to have a director of marketing, a manager of marketing. They're going to have lots of different people within that department that all contribute to making the decision on a marketing purchase. So a cold calling strategy for that is that obviously, again, we've tried to email these people, we're reaching out, we're trying to develop that relationship. But let's say that you call that person. And one strategy that I really like to use, and this can be done for a cold call or a cold email, is saying, hey, listen, we've never met before, but if your company was looking to solve X problem by doing this is what you offer, what would you need to see from a company like ours in order to take a first meeting? Just ask them straight up. If you've sent value, and hopefully they're reading it, but you just want to literally ask them the question of, hey, what do you need to see? What do we need to show you to earn that first meeting? That also goes a long way in developing trust and putting their guard down and essentially putting them a little bit in the driver's seat. I also want you to remember something as well, and that is that your process will take time. It takes, on average, at least 7 attempts for a prospect to respond or acknowledge your existence. I don't want you to make all 7 of those attempts a cold call. Mix it up a little bit. Use social media, right? Use email, use the call. If you have a cell phone number that you've gotten somehow, maybe send a text message, right? Use different types of communication preferences and be recording those. Because if you're recording those and you know their preference, then the next time you need to reach out, and if you have the right systems built to do this at scale, you can say, hey, this person communicates better at these times and on these devices and in this way. So instead of just trying to cold call everybody and expecting that to work, mix it up a little bit. I hope that helps, and good luck in your cold prospecting.